Hey, what's up everyone? Dylan Enzer back with the Conventional Dude Company. It's gonna be our second video of the channel, so huge stuff. I'm gonna start it off with a Bible verse just so we follow that faith, firepower, function mantra. So today's Bible verse is gonna be Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, the righteous runneth to it and is safe. So again, that's Proverbs 18:10. All right, I am super excited to make this video, guys. One of the big things I put out in the intro video was that I'm big into guns. So naturally, first thing we're gonna do is review one of my guns, and I'm just gonna kind of go through it and talk about all the accessories and pieces on it and why I like them. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and show you guys. There's no mag. And then, yeah, you can kind of see it. So we're clear and safe. All right, so this is my favorite rifle that I've put together. I love this thing. It's evolved a little bit over the last few years. I've changed some stuff out on it, mainly optic setups and things like that, but the base rifle has pretty much stayed the same. The only other thing different is this started out as an AR pistol with a brace on it, but I actually went through the process and SBR'd it, literally just so I could run a stock. It's kind of goofy, but here we are. All right, so I'm just gonna start at the top and work all the way to the bottom and just kind of talk through the rifle itself. Again, we're clear and safe. Okay, so the very front end of the rifle, we have a Cat Whitebread. It's the 718 Inconel version, and it's going to be on Cat's proprietary flash hider. So it's just a reverse thread screw-on type suppressor. I love this thing. I watched a lot of reviews before buying it, and to be honest with you, I had just kind of given up on getting this suppressor because I couldn't find them in stock anywhere online, and I couldn't find them in stock in gun stores around me. But then lo and behold, the day that I went to the gun store to file the form and everything to get the suppressor, I was looking at the case, and I was going to get a Huxworks 556K, the Flow, and right below it was this Cat, and they had just got it in. So I ended up getting the Cat. I still kind of want to get a Huxworks, but I wanted to get one of these first, and I'm super glad I was able to pick it up. It's a really good mix, kind of a jack of all trades for the size that it is. Good sound suppression, good flash suppression. And then it does have Cat's, I can't remember what the technology is called, but it's their kind of flow through thing that a lot of people are moving to now. So you don't have to worry about your gun getting super gassy, and you don't really have to worry about adjusting the gas for the gun to run. It runs fine. It runs just like it did without a suppressor on it. So love that about it. But it's a good jack of all trades suppressor. All right, so then we'll move on to the light. This is going to be a Surefire Mini Scout. It's the 340, but it's the dual fuel turbo. So essentially you can run it on the rechargeable battery that Surefire gives you, or you can run it on two CR123s. Slightly less output running it in that way, but it's an option if you had to. So that's the light. And then the turbo is just the head that's on it. It's a very concentrated beam. I mean, for how small this light is, it is an absolute lightsaber in the dark. And it depends on what you're using it for. I kind of live out in the country, in the woods, so having some throw is nice. If you were, I don't know if it's what I would get if I was just like in a CQB kind of clearing houses environment, just because it's such a concentrated beam. You really have to watch if you're in a building like that. If you scan across like a mirror, it'll shine right back and blind you. But it's a great light. And just a small thing up on the front. This is a Strike Industries QD mount, and it's cool. I like it because it's angled back towards the rear of the gun instead of being 90 degrees out from the rail. So just a small thing. I just, I like the way it sits. And I've had that on there since I built the gun, and I've had no issues with it. It's been fine. Okay, and then coming back, we got the Unity Axon dual switch. So the front button right here is going to be for light activation, and it's nice because it's recessed, so I really do feel like it helps lessen the chance of a light ND, because I can put pressure right there. You'd really have to get your thumb into that and push the button in for the light to be activated. And then this back button is going to be for the PEC 15 that we'll talk about in a sec. This Unity is specifically the one that is sold by GBRS Group, and that's just because I'm running my PEC on this HRF skiff, this plate back here, and GBRS Group is the only place you can really find these Unities where they make a long cable. So the cable going to my light is 7 inches, but that cable going back here, I believe they have a 9-inch option and then a 14-inch option, depending on what your firearm setup is. But the typical length is going to be 7 inches too, but that just wouldn't work for this distance. So like I said, Unity Axon, and it's specifically the one from GBRS Group with the longer cable. Okay, next thing, we have a Samson Manufacturing forward grip. I know some people prefer hand stops. I like a full forward grip just because it gives you the option. I can grab this just like I would a hand stop and kind of clamp over it to maneuver. You start getting fatigued though, anyone knows if you have a heavy gun and you hold it up more than a couple times, your delt is just screaming. But you can grab that full forward grip and still get your whole hand on there. The nice thing and cool thing about it is that if you needed to take it off for any reason, it has an M-lock mount that's actually mounted to the rail, but then it's just a screw on here. So if you want to change to a shorter, more hand stop style grip from Samson Manufacturing, you can throw it right on there. It takes 20-30 seconds. The only drawback to this grip is that it is made of aluminum and it will transfer some heat. So if you're, running and gunning, blowing through a bunch of rounds, sometimes it'll get a little hot. I usually wear gloves, like, some 511 tack style gloves. But if you're not wearing gloves, sometimes it can get a little hot. It's just a thing because it's not plastic. It'll transfer heat. And you guys know, if you shoot a bunch of rounds through any of these like AR style platforms, they get pretty hot, especially if they're gas and not piston, which this is, just direct impingement gas. All right, now a very small thing on here, but it really does my OCD good, is these Arson machine wire routing pieces. So I'll get up close so you guys can see that. These mount into M-lock and they allow you to route the cable. You can route it straight through. You can run it like a 180 flip. It just allows you to route that cable and get kind of the desired position you want. But they look very good on a gun. They're tough. They hold up very well and they really protect those wires. So I have them running my PEC cable and my light cable. And then there's another one. It's kind of hard to see. There's another one that runs through a Picatinny. This is also an Arson machine cable routing. All right, and then last small thing on the upper is this. See, there she is. This sling retention is from Sub Rev Tech. It's just like a little piece of polymer. It's rugged. It's just polymer and shock cord though, but it mounts onto your Picatinny. And then the way this works is, you fold up your sling however you want to up here. And then this is shock cord, so it's stretchy. And you just wrap it around your sling. And then it just locks in right there. And you can either push it out, come up here and push it out with your finger, or you can rip your sling out of it if you need to get to it quick. I've done that a bunch in the shock cord, and it's shock cord and polymer. They're very tough and they hold up well. All right, now let's go into kind of the optic setup of this gun. So This is going to be a full power PEC 15. It was manufactured in 2020, so it's not super old. It's still in pretty good shape, but like I said, full power PEC. You can see it's got the little blue screw, so if you're training, you can put the blue screw in here, and it'll keep you from swapping to full power so you don't burn your buddy's retinas out. But I got a PEC because, like I said, I was a Navy corpsman, but I was with the Marine Corps for most of my time in the Navy. Like 7 out of 10 years I was with the Marines in different capacities. But my rifle always had a PEC on it, so I'm just comfortable with the PEC, and I know the ins and outs of a PEC. Obviously there are better lasers out there and there are worse lasers out there, but this is just the one I like, so that's what I have. And like I said before, it's sitting on that HRF skiff, which mounts directly to this Unity Fast. So this is a Unity Fast mount. It's going to be it's 2.23 or 2.33. That's the height of the mount. This is going to be the one that's for a T2, like an Aimpoint T2 style footprint. I don't have a T2 on it right now though. I have a SIG Romeo 4T Pro. So it's going to be the exact same optic as the 4XT Pro, but it's going to run off the CR 2032 instead of the AAA. The 4XT Pro has the tube along the side for the AAA. This is a solid optic. I love it. It has been very good. The battery life has been awesome. This is from, I believe it's In-Call Tech, but it's just a dual battery cap, so you can have an extra battery in there. Not that you need it, because the battery life on this thing's like 50,000 hours. If there's one gripe I have about this, and I believe there's a company that makes a shroud to kind of fix it, but this button on top is an NV button. So essentially it switches from a dim NV setting, like when you hit it, it goes instantly to a dim NV setting, but if you hit it again, it goes up to like the brightest setting on the optic. And just where it is on top, it can be easy to hit or bump, you know, so if you're in the daytime, you might bump it and bring up your optic and you don't see anything because it's gone to the lowest NV setting. But I mean, it's just the thing, if you know it's a possibility and you bring it up and your optic's off, you just smack that NV button and it'll go back to the brightest. But I believe there's a company that makes a shroud. I just don't have one yet. And then just backup sights. I have the rear, I can't really show it. I have the rear O-ring sight installed in this Unity Fast, and then I have a Magpul Imbuus Pro front sight that's just a flip up. So if you needed to, you could rip the PEC off of this and you could use those iron sights. And then on the back, this is going to be an EOTech G45, so it's their 5x magnification. I'm sure if you guys have any experience with magnifiers at all, you know it's kind of a problem with all of them, that the eye relief is not great and the eye box is tight. But I will say with this one, when you get the right distance away and you're in that good eye box, it's very clear, even going through all this glass. And it's a pretty robust magnifier. I've liked it a lot. I have thought about switching back to maybe a 3, but for right now, I'm just going to keep rocking this. And I have that. I have the magnifier on a QD. It's what comes standard with the Unity Fast magnifier mount, and it's nice because, you know, depending on what you're doing, if you don't need a magnifier, you can take that off, and it makes the gun significantly lighter. So, you know, ounces are pounds and pounds are pain. So it's nice to be able to take that off. This gun is pretty heavy. I don't know the exact weight. It's probably somewhere, I'd say it's got to be 11 to 12, maybe even up to 13. But if you take off the can and you take off this magnifier, it feels like a completely different gun. So, you know, that's why I like having the QD on there. All right. You can see in there, got a BCM FDE bolt carrier group. It's just standard bolt carrier group from BCM. It's been great. This rifle's probably got, I don't have an exact count. I'd say it's probably 4,500 to 5,000 rounds total through it on this hardware. And I mean, I know that's not a lot. There are people that shoot a ton more than that, and I eventually want to get to that point, but I just can't right now. But everything's been good. It's run very well. And then I have a Geisley Airborne charging handle back here. It's ambi, so you can pull it from either side and it'll rip. Very solid, very good charging handle. Okay, now let's talk about the lower receiver a little bit. Let me do this to fit it in the frame. So the lower receiver is just going to be a complete lower receiver from BCM. BCM, super well-known company. They, I'd kind of describe them like the Toyota of the gun world. They almost never make anything that's fancy, but everything they make works and it runs very well and it's very dependable. So complete BCM lower. And this is an HRF mag well. It's just, you know, a flared mag well to help you get the mags in there. You know, you get all nervous, got real shaky hands. Close this. All right, so a lot of people especially on like the Facebook gun pages I'm on, they don't like the anti-walk pins, and I agree with that. I'm not a big fan of them either. The only reason that they are on my gun is because it currently has the Delta Team Tactical FRT, and it's the 3-position FRT. So it's cool. You can go to semi and shoot just like normal, you know, 1 round per trigger pull. And then to go to the force reset trigger mode, you just rotate it back to the 3rd position. It's not machine gun. All it's doing is just helping you reset and pull the trigger faster. That's like a common misconception with all the people that aren't really in the gun space. But so that's the only reason I have those anti-walk pins in there, is because that trigger is in there. Now, some small kind of niche parts that are on this lower receiver. I can get it in there. So this mag release is from Ford Control Designs, and it's a little more pronounced, sticking out, but it also has a heavier spring. So if you're, you know, running around, maybe you got your finger off and your finger's resting around there. It's happened to me before, just a stupid mistake. But you're running and you kind of hit that, and then you drop your mag and you realize that, there went all my rounds. This heavier spring really helps prevent that, but it's not so heavy that you can't push it. It's still easy to maneuver, but it's not gonna like bump on your gear and dump your mag out. And then same over here, I have the Ford Control Designs. It's just their enhanced like bolt catch. It's just a little more pronounced, both on the paddle up top and on the bottom portion. I like it. It's, again, just a small thing that makes running your gun a little more easy, especially if you have gloves on. And then the last thing, I'm sorry, 2 more things from Ford Control Designs. I have their trigger guard down here. Just, it looks good aesthetically, and it's a little bigger. So if you have like a gloved hand, it's easier, but it just looks good, let's be honest. And then the last thing I have from Ford Control Designs, again, a very small thing, but it is kind of neat, is their takedown pins in the rifle. So front and rear takedown pins, and it's kind of cool. They just make them a little bit longer. I'm sure if you guys know the stock takedown pins on like an AR-15 or an M4, M16, something like that, when you go to push them out, it barely sticks out on the other side, so sometimes it can be hard to grab. Sometimes you got to get like a Gerber or something to get under there and pop them out. But with these, it's like they just made it just long enough so that you can get a finger under it and pop it out. So again, just a very small thing, but a cool thing. All right. Kind of last things on the rifle. It's going to be the furniture. So the buttstock and the grip are both from B5. This is going to be the B5 enhanced, and they just call it the enhanced because it's got these tubes here, and these tubes open up and you could actually store like CR123s or AA's or anything else that would fit in there. It's like a watertight storage tube, but good tactile stock. It gives you a great cheek weld. That's one of the reasons I love this stock, and it's not Not that stocks are usually heavy, but this one's, you know, pretty light for how flared the cheek wells are. And then grip, again, B5. This cool topo design is from Matt Gore. You can Google him. I want to say it's Matt Gore Customs, but he makes all kinds of furniture and all kinds of mags that are like laser engraved and stuff like that. And so that's where I got these from. I have a black set of these on my other, like, you know, kind of primary rifle. I love the design. I think it just kind of sets your gun apart. It looks cool. Nothing better about the stock or the grip because of that, but it just looks good. And then another thing I like about this B5 furniture is, so pull it off the bench. So in this grip, I have a plug in here. And so in this plug, I have the 2 CR123s that I could use in my light or in my pec. I have a nano tool that's kind of down in there, and then I have this Allen key, and that Allen key is just going to be for the pec to help get it on and off, and to also take that blue screw in and out. So that, and then it's a watertight plug supposedly, but I mean, it's just, the batteries would be fine even if it wasn't. And then last thing I really like about the B5, and a lot of people that just buy these don't know this offhand, but actually if you pop out the butt plate, there is storage for a little B5 M4 tool. It's got a couple wrenches, a scraper, a flathead that you could use to get optics off or to adjust. If you needed to adjust like the, what am I thinking, like elevation turrets and stuff like that on your optic, you can adjust them with this, or it can help you. I just think it's always cool to kind of have a backup tool like this that's always on your gun, and it's in such a, you know, you're never, the benefits of having this versus not having this, you know, they definitely outweigh the cost. It's just nice to have that extra tool in there. But then again, it just goes right back up in there. And like I said, for the longest time, I had this B5 furniture for probably almost 1.5 years before someone asked me, do you have the tool in the buttstock? And I was like, what are you talking about? It's because for some reason you don't really see it advertised. And then kind of wrapping up here, on my buttstock, I just have some shock cord and a little clasp. And it's just, if I want to run my sling back there, kind of wrapped around my stock and tucked in, it gives me the option to do that. Or if you wanted to put a tourniquet back there, you know, I'm a corpsman. I love tourniquets. I have an unhealthy obsession with tourniquets and med gear. So, yeah, maybe I put a tourniquet there. And then very last thing, this is going to be the Warrior Poet Society sling. I've only had this for, let's see, I've had it less than a year. I just kind of wanted to get one and try it. I had one of the Warrior Poet slings before, and it was the one that was full bungee like this. And it was a good sling, but I ended up moving to a Faro Concepts slingster just because I wanted that adjustment lever, and that Faro Concepts slingster is so beefy. But I ended up, I just wanted to try this. You know how it is. So this one is a little bit different because it's going to have that bungee, so you can still, it stays tight to your body, but you can also punch out and use that bungee to stretch. But it also has an adjustment tab, similar to, you know, a Faro Concept slingster or a T-Rex sling, a GBR, basically any of the modern 2-point slings, or like a Vickers even. So it's kind of got best of both worlds. Like I said though, guys, I'm still playing around with it. I might end up going back to the slingster just because the slingster is probably my favorite sling that I've used so far, just because the pad's awesome, the pad's adjustable. So I really love that about it. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much everything on this. Again, it's an 11.5, and it is actually stamped as a short-barreled rifle. Yeah, that's really all I got for this video, guys. I appreciate any likes or subscribes, hitting the notification bell, and I appreciate any of the views. I know it's still in the super early stages. I'm really hoping I can get you guys some cool content as this kind of picks up. And I think it'll give me an excuse to hopefully go out and shoot more and train more, because we all need it. You know, you can have a super nice gun, but if you don't have the training and you don't have the rounds through it, then it's pointless. You need the training too. So go out and train, go out and shoot, and just get outside. Husband and dad, from a husband and a dad, just get outside. It'll be good for you. Go lift some weights. That's always fun. Again, I appreciate everything. I know it's in the super early stages, but you guys are awesome. All the people that commented on my last the intro video, it's really encouraging to have, you know, a few subscribers and stuff after that as well. Yeah, thanks guys. If you have any ideas for content or anything you want to see or any questions, just ask it in the comments, drop it in the comments, and I'll get back to you and answer all of them. All right, guys, I will see you soon. I appreciate it again.